beef, and we would take that and the cow milk and cream, which we sold for money, but the other stuff we took to the grocery store. And then we bought our bread, our milk, we had a milk, we had a cow. So all we bought was what we couldn't break or make. Which was, and like we'd buy a banana, one banana off of the stalk for a nickel. And apples. Sometimes Daddy would buy at Christmas time. He always tried to have a box of apples. I don't know where he got them, but fruit and nuts. We we ate well, but it was just little food.
Basic.
What you would raise, right? And then, like
No
I said,
preservatives and all that.
every 4th of July was our biggest day because all the neighbors within any distance at all, we all got together and had a picnic. And there was one man who at the line, we always thought he was giving us the pop. He'd buy the cases of the pop. And we just had all we wanted and just drank and drank. And I didn't find out until many years later that our fathers pitched in and paid for that.
You thought he was just the best.
So the old Mr. Wine, he was always our favorite person to see it. And then there was one lady, Mrs. Woods, who always made a American flag cake. She, with the stars and the stripes.
Wow.
We always knew there would be that cake. And then we usually had our first watermelon. So it was just a good old.
What year were you born, Grandma?
Pardon?
What year were you born?
1915. So
What was happening around that time in history?
World War I just got over.
Just before World War I. In fact, the day I was born, Italy entered the war.
Who was president then?
He was just born. You didn't know.
Well, I should know history. What was it?
Hoover. Hoover was
Was it
before
Wilson?
the Depression, so just the one before. Oh,
Was it Wilson? I got those.
but you were born in Toledo?
Yes, after my father, after my father.
Orange County. You had a lot of citrus.
Yeah, I was born in Norman.
How many are you the oldest?
Literally? No, I was the third.
Out of how many children?
5. And I was the third. And then there were 2 younger brothers.
Were you guys all pretty close together in age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. 2 to 3 years. 2, 2 and a half, 3.
2 died.
Yeah, 2.
In infancy?
Mildred was the oldest.
And when they were babies?
Robert.
They were young.
But
You did.
we figured out that,
No.
see, Mother and Dad got married 1910 in February in Kansas. We figured that out there recently. And in 1910 November, my sister was born. And sometime within that, either shortly after that, probably shortly after my folks went down to Mexico, tried farming and.
From before you were born.
That was before I was born.
Where did they try to farm?
They farmed and had a little brick land and store.
In Mexico?
In Mexico, yeah.
Oh, really?
And then that bandit came through there and ran him out.
That was during that.
What was his name? Mexican bandit.
Pablo Diablo.
Eduardo.
Poncho Seco.
Poncho
Oh,
Seco.
it doesn't
Frito
matter.
Bandito.
But anyway, mother had to leave Mexico because of this revolution that was going on.
In Mexico.
Poncho Villa.
Poncho
Poncho
Villa.
Villa.
Poncho Villa.
And he ran all this white people, or the
Well,
Americans out.
he was against. He was trying to take over. It was a revolution.
And these guys, her parents were actually down there in the same area that the Mormons tried to set.
Oh, the Mormon colonies down there.
They were real close. I tried to figure that out if they were in the same place, but I don't think they were.
I don't think
It wasn't exactly the same place.
Just over the border of Arizona or California.
No, it was closer down into. It was more in the central.
Right.
Really? Yeah, it's quite a ways down.
It was quite a ways down. But anyway,
So then they came back from Mexico to Covina.
well, getting back was tricky because Dad sent Mother out on a ship. Not from Mexico. Oh, on a ship? On a ship, because she said that she was never so hot in her life as when she was on that ship with them. The ship went down to Panama. Oh, no wonder. And turned around, say, to go back up to Los Angeles where she was going. And then I'm not sure of my facts, but I think she went back to Kansas to be with her brothers. Because they still have the original farm, the Dravis farm. In fact, I have that picture. And then I think that's where Robert was born.
Grandpa came out by.
And then he came out, and someone, Bud was, Bud got information. He would sit down with Dad and he'd say, "Tell me a story, Grandpa, about Mexico." He's been like curious. And evidently, the friend lived next to his friend was next, escorted him to the border on a horse. All he had with him was a saddlebag and what money he had on his, belt, on his belt. So he got back then up to Covina, I think, where we had relatives there. They were not blood relatives, but the brother to his stepmother lived there. And that's who we always went to see when we went to Covina, was this country. So I'm just making up part of it. It's like I know some facts that I'm kind of filling in. I assume that Daddy went back to Kansas, got Mother and Mildred and Robert, came back to Covina, and went to work, and then I was born. After all of that.
He worked in the city.
He did everything, a lot of.
And that was in Covina?
Covina, yeah.
When you were born, you worked in the citrus?
Yeah. In fact, we lived in one of the groves. We didn't own it, we just lived it.
So in 1915, what was the mode of transport? When was the cars introduced and all that? Was that then?
There's a few cars.
Like 1913.
Oh, yeah, there were, because, there were cars.
Did everybody have them, or was it
No. There weren't even
horse and buggy
roads.
still?
There weren't even roads for years between, only just trails between Covina, Los Angeles, down to Blythe. It was just, if there was a car coming one way,
You just pull over and let them come by?
the guy that had the least sand on the other water would pull over, and then they'd help each other back on the road. One going one way and the other going the other. And it was one of these, I think it's the car that I was standing on the running board.
Oh yeah, when you're little.
Had on there, I think that was one of the first ones that married.
Cool.
So, from an economic perspective, did your father was he middle class, low, I mean, as far as income?
I would
Or
say
just-
just
Was everybody about the same?
modestly low,
Honestly,
because nobody had any.
Oh heavens, for your father to have owned ground like you in Blythe
Yeah.
Yes,
and to have farmed that ground and that,
he started with 20 acres that he bought from. When they were in Mexico, they also met other Americans. And there were 3 of those families that ended up in Blythe.
Good.
That Shepherdson was one of the families who sold Dad. They went down to Blythe first. And they sold Dad that 20 acres where Charlene lived. The home thing.
You know what year that was?
Yeah, it was, let's see, I was 18 months old.
Well, right after you were born, they went.
8 year and a half old. Yeah, so 15. He
So
said
you don't
17.
remember the move or anything. All you remember is Blythe.
All I remember is growing up there. But
And Blythe is at 150 miles from Rock Valley or Green.
oh no, it's close to 200. 880 to 200.
And Covina is a nice climate, you know, in a beautiful area. They had citrus. They went across that desert 200 miles.
No, there was a train in there at that time.
You went on.
We used to have a train that went. We didn't have trucks and stuff like that. Yeah. So they went down there on a train with their positions. And they had a tent, probably a wagon and 2 mules, Maud and Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
And
you remember living in that tent for a while.
I remember when I can't remember the tent before it got full naturally and fell down and that stuff. But I can remember the tent when they finally got a good floor in it. And then the floor got sides and a roof. And the tent came off. And then they built the porches around on the sides. I remember all of it. But I kind of vaguely remember Mother at Christmas time making divinity candy. We didn't have it wasn't setting up real good, firming up. So for refrigeration, we had a framework with burlap. If anybody was hot, you sat there and did this. When my younger brother had to take a nap, Mother had to sit there and nap him so he could sleep.
Same temperature you have in Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah.
it's out in the middle of the desert.
Right
Well,
on
on the
the
edge of
It
the
is on the Colorado River.
But it's
I've never been there.
Short distance from Phoenix.
but
There's
anyway,
the Colorado River, and it sits right on the west side of the Colorado River.
but there is a mesa, so you drop down a little bit from actual desert to the valley.
And they had set up a water system where they got a diversion in the Colorado River, and then the water runs into that valley, and that's what these guys started. Farming.
They had
They had cheap water, good soil, and warm temperatures, so
All year round.
produce area, so they could, and that's what Grandpa started doing.
not produce, because there was no way to market it.
Yeah, but he tried it.
Well, he tried, he was one of the first farmers in Blythe to try produce, but by the time they got shipped to New York or wherever they shipped to,
Right.
it rotted on the river. So he lost one.
He was ahead of his time.
Head of his,
Just transportation wasn't
No,
I've been up yet, so we.
and I can even remember as a teenager when they first started trucking the hay on it. But now the cotton was the first crop that we actually used money at.
Just had to be trained in
Because
ships to get
they
it
had a gin,
from the side of the country, huh?
so all they had to do was raise the cotton, pick it. And I went with my dad many times riding in the wagon to the gin, and then they just baled it. And the first stage for it, that's when you got your money.
Did you have a lot of black, probably a lot of black workers pick the cotton,
No,
cotton picker?
no,
Just the kids.
just whoever would pick.
Right.
I mean, there were.
That's about the time the Oklahoma, the mid,
Oh, the Dust Bowl
when the
came
Dust
along.
Bowl, when everybody was coming to California, that's about the time they were
Yeah,
all
they were
coming.
coming
We had a lot of transit.
And people
Yeah.
were willing to work back
About
then.
nothing.
Yeah, they'd give anything, and then eventually he had. If they were, of course, they lived in the shack, but they were smaller shacks. These transients loved to have, and it was a roof over their head. So they made enough money picking cotton, pulling cotton, to get to the coast. I made nice spending money by being the weighmaster. You know, they'd bring these big sacks of, and I couldn't pick for the darn, I couldn't make enough. I couldn't pick enough. So they'd have these very big old long, they'd be as long as this road, full of cotton, and you had to bend it up there and get it on the scale, and I kept the books for them.
Oh.
And I was in on part of it. But then after the cotton, well, and he always had cattle, and you know, livestock. And then the cotton became passé for some reason or other. People would raise it up. Most of the people who were raising cotton went to Arizona, and they did good. But the alfalfa became the thing, the main for a long time there, because they finally got the big trucks that came in and hauled it out. So getting your stuff to market is the most important thing.
Right.
Anybody
Not making money.
can raise it if you've got the water, the seed, and the,
Mm-hmm.
but to get it marketed was very important. And Daddy was on one of the first persons to be on the Alfalfa Growers Association, who kind of organized these truckers and the buyers so that they didn't get cheated.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times somebody just come in and to the ranch, individual,
Mm-hmm.
load up a load of hay. And, well, I'll send you a check, and they never got a check. Or something.
Right.
So when they got organized, it was better, a lot better. I think from the time I know when I had my tonsils out, I was 4 years old, and we made a trip in that old coach across the desert. It took us 2 days,
Oh,
and
you just sleep in the car?
pardon?
Did you just sleep in the car?
I think we slept on the ground.
Did you?
There was no car. It was just
Just kind of a.
this little. There were seats, and that was it. Because we always had to take a lot of water. And, anyway, we went to this. I always called him Uncle Rastus. Uncle Rastus Hutchins. And they had a 2-story house, and I thought they were millionaires. But that's where Daddy took me hospital. And the doctor says, he says, now I'm gonna put this mask on your face, but I'll put it on your dad's face first. And then he'll say whether it's okay to do it to me. Is it okay? And I remember if it's okay for Daddy, it's okay for me.
Right.
And then when I woke up, he had the most beautiful blue doll, a doll in a blue dress.
Oh.
And what was that for?
Tonsils.
Oh, tonsils. Oh.
Yeah.
Then about that time your brother died.
Well, that was when Mildred died. I think it was right after Mildred died. Because I was 4. She died when I was 4. So everything happened at once there. Mother had typhoid at the same time.
Oh, the kids got typhoid fever.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Says that.
Mother did, yeah. She
You
almost
got it. I said, did you
Yeah.
get
No,
it?
I didn't get it. No. Mother.
Oh, well, you were done. You got. When I was 4 and a half, I had diphtheria.
Yeah, and then I got diphtheria. Seemed like everything fucked at once. Poor Mom.
But
So Mildred died of typhoid fever?
Yeah.
Robert died from a rock sugar theory.
And, yeah.
And how old was he?
He was 15 and I was 13.
Oh, well, good mix is later on.
Yeah.
Much later on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was more than 6, 7.
Oh, no, she was about 10.
10.
See, I was 4. She was, so she was about 10.
Oh, wow.
But I just vaguely remembered it. But see, I was, well, you don't really remember.
Because you were just starting to get
Yeah,
memory.
right. I remember when, the main thing I remember about her was one time we had a couple of apples and, Mother spread a quilt or a blanket or something under a tree and, Fred was just a baby. So Mildred cut up the apples and I heard Mother say, now be sure and scrape the apple for the baby. You know, so don't give him a chunk.
Right.
Scrape it.
Right.
And I don't know what, I guess Robert was there too. I don't remember that. But that's about the only thing I remember about Mildred. But Robert and I we got along. We did a lot of things together.
You were actually older than Fred, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's true. But then that was it. I went to school, graduated, and met Pop.
Pop. Tell us about that.
Now it's starting to get juicy.
Yeah.
There's something juicy about it.
What'd you do for like fun? Like, what'd you do for like fun when you
Yeah,
went
when you
out?
were in high
Like
school.
fun? Well, until I dated, I belonged to a group. I was included in a group who went to Sunday school. We had a Sunday school class, and the girls and boys are the same age. We go on picnics, horseback riding,
Oh wow.
or swimming. Just that's about that. Or swimming.
Mhm.
We did a lot of swimming, and that was about it.
What was your first swimming?
My first swimming suit.
Do you remember the style?
My actual swimming suit or what I wore?
Oh. Depends on where
Did
you
you
were.
cut off or cut off?
I wore blue. I probably wore bloomers and just whatever I had for underwear, which were bloomers,
Right.
and I don't know what I had on top.
Huh?
I don't think I had anything on top for years and years.
Yeah, you just, yeah.
Deeper, deeper.
But and all of the neighbors were boys, and I had brothers, so I just went right along with boys. They just wore their skivvies or whatever. They didn't even have underwear like now. It was homemade flour sacks.
Yeah, flour sack.
You put your own flour
Talk
sacks.
about roughage.
How was your underwear? No, it was a good cotton.
I'm just
My
teasing.
mother made
Yeah,
my some underwear like that.
I can remember the Clark
Well, oh yeah,
made clothes on.
yeah, we made shirts. We made shirts.
My people
But that was more peace.
Mama, people want to
speed.
look at
Okay,
that.
so what?
You don't want to.
But
Okay,
So where'd you meet Grandpa at?
I can look at it after.
Okay.
well, actually, I met him. He didn't come to Blythe. His family didn't move to Blythe until Grandma Bryant financial problems in LA. So,
they owned a grocery store in LA, right?
yeah,
And
and
they had a good business, but then the supermarket type, or the, is that right?
yeah,
The bigger stores
The main-
changed over,
the Safeway came in right down the street from them.
and they were used to giving credit and
It's a good old-
delivering the groceries and everything. And then as soon as the prices were cheaper there, they walked off and left them and didn't pay their bills. They were,
Grandma Marietta was the creditors.
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
They didn't pay their bill.
wouldn't pay the bills. When Safeway came in, they go there.
So,
And here they carried them all those years.
and then Grandma Bryant's mother had gone. She was a housekeeper for a man who had a creamery in Los Angeles, and he had property in Blythe. So he had a creamery in Blythe where we took our milk, our cream,
Mm-hmm.
and they made ice. And then when the Bryant family moved to Blythe, Bernie and his father both went to work for Mr. Boyle, who Grandma Norris was keeping house for.
Uh-huh.
So they got their jobs that way, and Bernie was one of the guys that lifted the cans up, took it, and I was one of the people that took the can up to the drove the old Model T car up to deliver the cream, and he was always mad. And I
Anytime he had to work.
yeah, he just wasn't very happy. But and then I saw him quite often then, and then he decided to go back to school and get his diploma in high school.
Just interrupt a minute. He was so ornery that his parents sent him to military
St.
school
John's.
in
for a
LA
year.
area. A good Catholic military school.
Yeah. But they had money enough then to do it.
He was resentful. You think he was a little bit resentful about that?
I don't know whether he was or not. He had one of the sisters that he talked frequently about who he liked. Just, that he could confide in and talk to. But he just didn't like Blythe, neither did Charlotte.
Gosh, who's
But
Charlotte?
They came from Los Angeles.
Charlotte is Shirley's mother.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sue, they call her Sue. So anyway, a friend of mine, Eugenia Raines, she says, "You just gotta meet Bernie." I said, "I know who he is." But anyway, to make it shorter, when Bernie decided to go back to school, then we were in the same class.
Oh.
And he was always seated as alphabetically. So he was in the B's and I was in the D's, so we were practically sitting one
Mm-hmm.
right together there. And then
And how old were you right then when you were?
I was only 16 at that time,
Okay.
but then I became 17 when I graduated. Um, I was a year ahead of myself.
Years.
Yeah, I skipped to 8th grade. But they always had a senior play, you know,
Mhm.
with the seniors, and we were booked in that. So that we just got better acquainted. Yes, I don't know. Then we just started going good.
Hmm.
That was that. Finish.
How long did you court before you were married then?
A year and a half.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Moore said.
It's good.
Well, there were, believe it or not, we had our furniture paid for before we got married.
Wow.
Now that's
Gotta
hard to
find a
believe,
date or next season.
because the ranch, the creamery ranch, he was still working for the creamery.
Uh-huh.
They had the Olympics in Los Angeles were in 1932,
Uh-huh.
and the buildings they had for housing, Mr. Boyle had bought 4 of them and moved them onto the ranch and made little houses out of them. And so we didn't even have to stay rent. We just moved in.
So you had
We
a
had our
place.
furniture paid.
Oh, nice.
So you lived in that house and didn't he went out through the desert and delivered milk to all the desert center and
right.
all.
He and
I mean,
Bill.
this is real desert. There's
They-
these little deals scattered around, and this is that Arizona, Southern California desert.
Mojave.
Yeah.
He drove out around there. It was even worse than the Mojave Desert because the lower the sea level was. And he drove around there and delivered milk to all those little.
They were building the Boulder
communities.
Dam.
Well, yeah, he got
It was
his.
when they were building the dam.
And they put pipeline across. And
Well,
little-
Boulder City.
Oh, Boulder.
Boulder, is that?
It's Hoover Dam, but
Hoover
Boulder's
Dam.
the city.
Boulder
Okay.
Dam, yeah.
Boulder's the
And they
city.
brought that pipeline down across there to go to take the water to LA. Well, he took the milk out to all that. Developed for them.
Wow.
So who did he drive the milk for?
Yeah,
That man that owned that creamery.
The guy, the man from,
There.
had
Chris,
business
take that
in
away from
LA.
there. Mitchell, give that to Chris.
Didn't your dad work on that dam?
My uncle.
Her uncle.
Mitchell.
So then what?
Where's that magazine?
Then he started moving.
Then he started, and I'm not gonna go in.
Yeah, we want to hear every move.
I don't remember everything.
This is
Yeah, you do.
this is kind of a dumb question, but I'm curious. Was there when the cars were being getting to where people could afford to have the vehicle? Was there an age where that you had to be before you could drive it, like now, before you can get your driver's license, or
Basically, yeah.
well?
But I didn't have to wait for that because when my brother died, we were going to school and delivering milk in a Model T pickup. You know, one of these pedals where you with the magnetos and all of that stuff,
Right.
and the crank. So when I was first year after he was gone, our mother either took us to school or we walked and caught a bus somewhere. Walked. That. But then Daddy got permission for me to drive this Model T, and I was only 14.
Wow.
Yeah, 14. Yeah. And we picked up a neighbor kid and their cream, and everybody on the way, and went to school.
Huh.
And then sometimes when I was leaving high school, there'd be kids hanging all around on the running boards.
To be dropped off
To
on
be
the way home.
dropped, and they'd ride as far as they want, and then hop off.
Huh.
That was okay, because some of the guys would crank it for me. But, and then Fred got old enough when he drove, and then I eventually graduated. So
What a simple way.
That's
Then
it.
you moved out on North Logan, wasn't that the first move?
Yeah.
North Logan, they had a pretty little house out there.
Is it
well,
still
They had
Blythe?
worked at Chevron Station.
Yeah, then he got into gas pumping. And then that we had a three-way partnership on that piece of ground. Bill, yeah, Bill Kenny and Bernie and Grandpa Bryant.
Oh, I didn't know.
You didn't know that? Well, anyway, nothing happened. Bernie just wandered out. So he took off, or we moved them to, well, eventually Midway City.
I was born in,
You
were we
were
all
born-
born there before you
We
left
were all
first
born
time?
there. Well, but I went back.
Frank and I were born in Blythe, and then you headed for Midway City,
And I was
which is in
already
Orange
pregnant,
County again.
which I was already pregnant with Bud, which I thought I should. That's all I needed was another kid. But anyway, no, I went to back to Blythe, when Bud was born and then back home. But he went, the Pearl Harbor came along then, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and right after Bud was born,
What was that?
41.
41.
And Bernie worked in the shipyards for a while
LA?
in LA, Long Beach.
Not till
And
after the war.
he did pretty good
45.
there. And then a friend of his got him into the, friend actually, who was from Blythe originally, but they stayed friends. And he got him into the ironwork.
Oh, the Merchant Marine.
The ironwork came first.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought I liked that.
The what came first?
the ironwork.
He was an
Well,
iron,
they built
a
these
structural
steel-
steel iron worker in the Union. Highest paid union there was.
Oh,
But they didn't work still. See, and then the
oh,
jobs
it's spread.
scattered.
Where's the cat?
But when he went into the merchant marines, it was because he didn't want to be drafted. So he went into the merchant marines and was on the ship for 9 months.
What was that all? 9 months.
Well, he just made one trip.
What did the merchant marines do?
They're the ones that were hauling the supplies
They were spies.
to the war.
So that was it. And then we ended up, we lived in Glendora all during the war. Well, Midway City and Glendora. And then after the war ended, I don't know, we just kind of drifted. Back to Blythe.
Went back to
Back to
Blythe.
Blythe, yeah.
You went to grammar school, all your kids were in.
That's right, yeah, they
To
did.
grammar school until he was what, 8th
I
grade,
was about 12.
7th grade when you moved.
Yeah, you were, yeah.
Then where did you move?
To Yucaico, and I said, I'm not moving again until the kids are out of high school. And then the summer that Bud graduated
You
from
moved.
high school,
Started moving.
he was off again. And poor Bud came home after 3 years in the army and no home. I mean, we were just vagabonds, going from here to there,
Just wherever Grandpa worked, or
wherever he could work. Yeah.
and what would he do for the work?
Receive? What would he get?
Ironwork.
He was doing the iron work,
Ironwork.
so you just kind of went with him to all his different jobs.
Yeah, we were in Vandenberg for quite a while. Not Santa Maria, which was a good job, and he did real well there. And then that's where I got my first job in a meat market.
Oh, yes.
And then after I got in the union, I didn't have the problem of finding work. So, then there was another time when I said, I'm not moving. And that was when I got a steady job here in Sacramento. I said, I'm not moving anywhere. We bought the house and we're still here.
Wow.
How much did you buy your house for? How much was your house when you bought it here?
19,000.
19,000. And that was when
It's been,
60s.
we were just married.
We were just there,
You were-
63, 60.
Yeah, you were big one.
yeah, you
bought
were
it
about two, you were in Salve.
We bought our first house in Winsburg.
Yeah. Rick Hans bought that one.
Was this a new house?
10.
No,
Was it a new house?
no. This wasn't you. You bought it.
No, there were two previous
Lives by the
owners.
creek. Going upstairs.
How old is this house?
Oh, gosh, it's over 40, it's about 40 years old. But see, we added to it.
Yeah.
We added that. Okay, yeah, that's another part of the story too. When
See, yeah, when Grandma Bryant, after Grandpa Bryant died, well, she took care of Grandma Norris for so many years. And then when Grandma Norris died, Grandma still lived alone until she was 85 years old. And we got concerned. So we built that. I sold 10 acres of ground after my mother had died to get money enough to build that room.
My word.
Yeah. Sold it to Chris. And so we built that room on for her. And then she lived here 9 years.
Wow.
So
And was that a good thing? I've only heard good things about that.
she only had to be in the nursing home for
6, 7 months.
her.
And I really could have kept her here at home,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd had that surgery and I was still trying to work in the bookstore. And she was getting to where she was incontinent
Yeah.
and needed more care than I could do.
Well, and she needed to watch her because she was doing things like cooking in the middle of the
Well,
night.
yeah, she was cooking in the middle of the night.
Oh,
But she was not sick. You know what I mean? So if I'd have been home all the time, not working, there'd have been no problem. And Bernie couldn't take care of it. I mean, like Frank says, Bud said something. He says, well, do you want to go in there and change pants? Bud said no. He was fussing because Bernie didn't do it. Didn't help.
Right.
Well, I do too. I did my shit. But Mary Ellen actually was the one who instigated the move. She did everything. And she promised to go over and see Mary and, see that. And that she knew nothing but good things about that place, and I guess it was. But her grandma, she didn't know. Well, she at first didn't realize, where she was.
Uh-huh.
But it finally dawned on her, I think.
Darn it.
But then,
She went to work when I was about 10 in the bakery.
yeah,
Worked in the bakery. And
You did eggs, didn't you?
not in Blythe.
then we moved out to
You guys,
Ukiah and she started grading eggs.
5 years we did that.
Seemed like 20.
ah,
Eating the eggs. Seemed like
Well, then